Hello everyone and welcome to my Sister Wives Gossip. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Why Emily Simpson chose to keep filming RHOC amid son's health diagnosis. The Real Housewives of Orange County star Emily Simpson considered taking a break from the show after learning her son Luke, 10, had a rare medical condition. What changed her mind was the potential help from fans she might receive once the show aired. I really thought at some point, when the audience sees this, I'll probably get a lot of answers and help from our audience, Simpson told The Hollywood Reporter, because they're so amazing, and they really get so invested in our lives. But filming the show was a challenge for Simpson. Luke was diagnosed with avoidant/restrictive food intake disorder, RFID, and Simpson and her husband Shane were just learning how to navigate the issue. The thing that came up with Luke this season was really challenging because it was happening in real time, Simpson explained. I wasn't just reflecting back on something that we went through as a family. Simpson, who has been a part of the RHOC cast since season 13 of the show, has been open about many personal issues over the years, including her fertility journey. She and Shane now share 3 children together, Annabelle, 12, and twins Luke and Keller, 10. While dealing with Luke's disorder, Simpson has leaned on several of her fellow cast members in particular. First of all of the women were so kind and supportive, Simpson said, but shared that Gina Kirschenheiter and Heather Dubrow were who she leaned on the most. Gina and I are super close, so I share a lot of things with her. But Heather is also such a great advocate because she's just such a good mom, Simpson explained. Dubrow was especially supportive, according to Simpson. She was constantly asking about Luke and how he was doing, and if I needed to talk, and she was always reaching out. Emily Simpson's advice for parents. Simpson hoped that sharing Luke's story would resonate with the show's audience and maybe provide her with some helpful advice from fans. But Simpson has some words of wisdom herself to pass along for families dealing with similar issues. I would say, find people that you trust, that are parents, that are moms that you can talk to, because it gets so overwhelming, she shared, adding, you really need to be able to talk about it and release, and have someone say, you're doing a good job, everything's going to be okay. When Emily Simpson signed on for another season of The Real Housewives of Orange County, she expected the usual swirl of champagne-fueled drama, designer fashion, and maybe a few awkward confrontations at beachside soirees. What she didn't expect was to face one of the most terrifying moments of her life, one that would test not just her resilience as a mother, but her strength as a woman on national television. Halfway through filming season 18, Emily received a phone call that shattered her world. Her youngest son, Luke, had been diagnosed with a serious autoimmune condition. It was like the air was sucked out of the room, Emily confessed in a recent interview. One minute I was arguing with Heather about some silly party seating arrangement, and the next I was Googling terms I'd never heard of, trying to understand what this diagnosis meant for my little boy. The Bravo star, who has always been fiercely protective of her family, found herself at a crossroads. The cameras were still rolling. Contracts were signed. And yet, the only thing that mattered to her was her son's well-being. Many expected Emily to pull out of the show, to retreat from the spotlight and focus exclusively on her family. But instead, she made a surprising decision. She kept filming. It wasn't about being brave for TV, Emily clarified. It was about showing Luke and my other kids what strength looks like. I wanted them to see that even when life throws the hardest punches, you don't crumble. You keep going. Behind the scenes, producers offered Emily flexibility. They would work around her schedule. She could skip trips. She could bow out of filming whenever needed. But Emily, with the steely resolve fans have come to recognize, pushed forward. In private moments, when cameras weren't around, she cried, researched treatments, spoke with specialists, and spent endless hours in hospital waiting rooms. But on set, she allowed viewers a glimpse into the duality of her life, balancing Botox and brunches with late-night
One
fevers,
particular
and the
lab
emotional
result.
scene that aired mid-season left fans stunned. Emily was seen breaking down during a lunch with Gina Kirschenheiter, tearfully opening up about Luke's condition for the first time. "He doesn't understand why he can't do what other kids can," she said, her voice cracking. "And I don't have all the answers for him. I'm just trying." Viewers rallied behind her. Social media lit up with support from fans and fellow mothers, many of whom have faced similar battles. Emily became more than just a sharp-witted housewife with a law degree. She became a symbol of maternal strength. Yet the decision to keep filming wasn't without controversy. Some critics accused her of exploiting her son's illness for screen time. Emily, never one to shy away from confrontation, addressed the backlash head-on during a reunion taping. "My son's story isn't a storyline," she snapped. "It's our real life. And if even one mom out there feels less alone because I shared our journey, then it was worth it." Off camera, Emily leaned heavily on her husband Shane, who stepped up in ways she hadn't anticipated. Once a polarizing figure on the show, Shane earned praise from fans for his unwavering support during the family's crisis. "I couldn't have done any of it without him," Emily admitted. "He kept things running at home, comforted the kids when I had to leave for filming, and reminded me to eat when I was too stressed to remember." Emily also credited her RHOC castmates. Yes, even her on-again, off-again frenemy Shannon Beador, for their unexpected compassion. "Everyone rallied around me in their own way," she said. "There were times we still bickered. This is Housewives, after all, but underneath it, I felt supported." As the season wrapped, Emily's perspective on reality television had shifted. "You come into this show thinking it's all glam and gossip, but when something real happens, you see who's truly in your corner and what you're really made of." Fans saw that transformation too. The season finale featured a touching montage of Emily and Luke at a charity walk for autoimmune awareness. Emily, wearing a team t-shirt that read "Luke's Warriors," smiled proudly as her son waved to the crowd. It was a powerful full-circle moment, one that reminded viewers that behind the designer labels and dramatic dinner parties, real life continues, with all its pain, beauty, and unpredictability. In a candid blog post shared after the finale aired, Emily wrote, "This season was the hardest of my life, but also the most meaningful. I chose to stay on RHOC not for fame, not for money, but for the chance to be raw and honest about what families like mine go through every day, and I'm proud of that." Since filming wrapped, Luke has shown promising improvement. Emily remains cautiously optimistic but continues to advocate for awareness, recently partnering with an organization focused on supporting children with rare diseases. "This isn't the end of our journey," she said, "but it's a hopeful chapter." Looking ahead, Emily isn't sure how many more seasons of RHOC she'll do. "That decision is up to a lot of factors," she said. "But what I do know is that whatever I face, on or off screen, I'll face it with my family, my truth, and my strength."